What is up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm, as always, your host, Cam Williamson, and we got a packed show for you today. I'm going to start off with the Travis Scott AstroWorld updates. A lot of people have been asking me for that. We're going to then touch very simply on the Aaron Rodgers coronavirus situation that he's got going on, and then we will finish it off with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, which I feel a lot of people are going to get very upset with me, especially my veteran friends. You're not going to like this one. But hey, I got to say how I feel, and I got to give my perspective. That's why I started this show. So let's start. I've got notes on the Travis Scott thing. I've been following it for the last couple of days. I've had a lot of people ask me to mention on certain things that I mentioned on in the last episode. So let's start there. Houston Police Department Chief Troy Finner had a press conference yesterday. The biggest takeaway from that press conference to me was the retracting of the statement that the security guard had been injected by something.
In terms of the security guard that I discussed on Saturday, if you can remember, members of the medical team in the medical tent said that a male security guard had come in and said that somebody had pricked his neck, and we felt that it could have been something ingested. We did locate that security guard. His story is not consistent with that. He says he was struck in his head. He went unconscious. He woke up in the security tent.
In Troy Finner's initial post-event press conference, he said that they had a security guard that had been injected, and that not only was he revived by Narcan, and they can say that he claims this was a report he got. No, he said they confirmed he was revived by Narcan and confirmed a prick in his neck.
Report of a security officer, according to the medical staff that was out and treated him last night, that he was reaching over to restrain or grab a citizen, and he felt a prick in his neck. When he was examined, he went unconscious. They administered Narcan. He was revived, and the medical staff did notice a prick that was similar to a prick that you would get if somebody's trying to inject. That is one part of it.
So you then can't come back to the public and go, oh, that security guard retracted that statement. Here's the other thing. Troy Finner admits that he had spoken to Travis Scott before Travis went on stage. He was not aware of the timelines. HPD is being very careful that they don't want to talk about timelines right now because I think that they know they're in trouble. His adamancy about staying lead on this investigation was a little concerning, seeing as how HPD is going to be a huge part of this investigation. He claimed that there was over 500 officers tasked to run security, mostly exterior, so probably dealing with parking and external security. And we know that there was a problem with external security, so we'll move there now. A lot of the initial videos we saw made it seem like this surge of breaking down essentially the outer walls to get into the show happened right before Travis went on stage. This is not true. We've seen now that there was one surge of external barricades somewhere around 9:30 in the morning. That was handled. Houston PD even commented on that one and said it wasn't that big of a deal. Overall, I think it was 23 people were arrested for trespassing. And I don't know if it was just in that one or if it was during that surge and the one that happened somewhere around 12:30. But they were aware. They were aware that there was a lot of people trying to break into this event. And the police chief, Troy Finner, had even commented that a big goal of this was to get in and get the merch that was exclusive for this show. Let's go here now. This show. And my initial comments of Travis Scott being should be held fully responsible for this. So let's give the names, right? We've got NRG, who's in charge of the grounds that the actual event took place on. You've got Live Nation, who's the promoter. You've got Score More, who is in charge of logistics. And then you've got Contemporary Services Corporation, who is in charge of the security aspect. All these security guards are claiming that they know they weren't properly trained going in here. They took a job and they just did what they were told. Scoremore is going to be in charge of all logistics, so obviously they're going to be held responsible. But here's what's going to happen, right? I forgot to mention this in my first video. I used to be a promotional guy in radio. So I've actually spoken with representatives at Live Nation to get tickets for certain shows for radio stations that I used to work at. I know how events work. I used to be an event coordinator. That's what I did, right? That was my job for a short time. And then I saw how insane it is when putting on an event and there is so much. Guys, I'm a veteran, right? So planning, situational awareness, that's my number one over any job ever. Planning, making sure everyone's safe, situational awareness at all times, adjust on the fly. It's who I am. I was a military police officer as well. So like, that's the thing, is that's why I feel like I have some right to cover this, because it does deal with all the things I care about. Rap music, mental health is going to be covered towards the end, especially. Just so many things, events, promotion, marketing. It's all stuff that I love. Live Nation is a promoter, so they're in charge of promoting the event. Let's start there. Travis Scott and Live Nation together put out these promotional videos telling people to come to this thing and be completely destructive, ready to rage, tear this place down in November.
AstroWorld Fest in full swing, but now with extra security.
We want to show you what it looked like when the festival opened.
Those videos have since been removed, and according to the lawyer who's in charge of at the time, 35 cases, lawsuits against all these different entities, there are still confirmed 8 dead. There was one, the Angel, I forget his last name. His father, who was searching for him, his name got added. That's why some people were seeing a 10th or a 9th name. And then there was a guy who had a previous heart condition, and there was a GoFundMe like going around for him, but he didn't die, and he had a heart condition before he went to the show. And again, we've just got misinformation going around. The 10-year-old that I referred to in the last episode was actually 9 years old. People were referring to him as 10 because his birthday is this month. But he is 9 years old, and he's in a medically induced coma for brain swelling. It's a 9-year-old child. Should their parents be responsible? 100%. 100%. Because if nothing else, there's a 9-year-old child there, and you just weren't with them. You weren't physically with them in such a large crowd. So, okay, let's talk about this. So Travis Scott puts out these videos promoting people to do this heinous shit. He's been known at all his other shows to promote violence and anger. He's been known to stomp out fans for his shoes and spit on them, right? We got that. Let me refer to my notes because I'm starting to get emotional just talking about it again. He sent out the tweet previous when he found out that the show was sold out and starting to, grow. He goes, "The wild ones still get in. We break our way in." So he's encouraging this via his social media. I want to point out the age group of people that were at this show for him was anywhere from apparently 9 to late 20s was the average, right? So this is most of these kids' first show if they're younger than 17, 16. It's probably their first show. They don't know what to expect. All these comments of people blaming the crowd, well, the people that surged are responsible. Well, let's talk about this, shall we? They had a 56-page emergency plan that was recently gone over by a crowd control expert. And in that plan, they had everything, floods, fires, hurricanes. They had everything planned for except for a crowd surge at a concert, at a festival. But on top of that, a Travis Scott concert. So Travis Scott, knowing what his brand is, not double checking that all this precaution is taken. And why would he not do such a thing when he's been known to tell his fans, security does not touch a Travis Scott fan at my show? Let's go to the moment where he goes, bring the lights up. Bring the lights up. I see my man back there on the tree. He's talking about a guy on a tree. I see my man back there. And then he goes, oh, there's an ambulance. Oh, right here. What's that? This is where things get important, and this is where the timeline's going to be important. Because he sees the ambulance. He probably thinks someone passed out. He's used to things happening at shows. He sees that it's still happening, says, if you're good, put your middle fingers to the sky, which is stupid to do. Right there, you take fault. The ambulance is attaining to someone, and instead of helping them and making sure that this person is taken care of, you continue the show. So, for anybody else, all the eyewitnesses that were in this crowd were saying, man, if you weren't right there in that middle crazy thing, like all the way towards the back, it was chill. We had space.
Puv deleted footage from YouTube of Travis Scott's Festival of Death. He really said the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that? If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy at, man? Come on. Two hands to the sky. Two hands to the sky. Two hands up, y'all. Two hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 5, 0, 4. Put out the sound. Put out the band. Please up. All right, action now. Please up, fucking Houston, Texas, make some motherfucking noise real quick, y'all. These AstroWorld fans, we got light up the whole city. Everybody's cell phone flashlights in the air.
It was only in this area, seemingly, where Travis Scott had control of the concert. They say Travis couldn't see that. How's he supposed to control it? He turned the lights on, saw there was an issue, and instructed the crowd. He gave them a command to put two middle fingers up to the sky. Instead of, like that's been seen in all these different clips going around, hey, I need you, if you're standing on this side of me, take 2 steps that way. If you are standing on this side of me, I need you to take 2 steps that way. That opens a hole. We know there's a hole able to be opened because people are admitting they have room in the back and an ambulance got through. So it's not so like this, where all these emergencies are happening, that nothing can be done. 2 people approach Travis Scott and he goes, yeah, all that. Now, I want to play the clip because after he does that, the 2 people that approach him go to run into the portal with him, and as the show starts, they run and dive into the crowd.
5, 0, 4.
Seemingly, it looks like they dove into the crowd. Did they bail because they knew this was about to get bad? Or did they stage dive trying to encourage the rage? Either way, it's bad. Guys, it's bad for Travis Scott. It's very bad. Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what I know at this point. That's what I know at this point. And I think that Houston PD, at least this Troy Finner, should be relieved from this investigation. He's obviously not able to maintain his composure. Now, he did do well during that press conference of controlling the questions, but he's doing that in his own best interest, so he can't be caught in any sort of lie or mistruth. To say that there was a confirmed prick and then to just go, oh, the security guard's not staying constant with that statement, well, that doesn't work that way. You either confirmed that there was an injection mark on his neck or you didn't. On to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is in trouble, and he's being attacked by cancel culture, and I put these quotes because I don't even think that's real. I just think those are a bunch of accounts created by maybe nobodies or maybe somebodies that are real on Twitter to just stir up headlines. But it worked, so we're going to talk about it. Aaron Rodgers, after the NFL came out with a vaccine mandate, was asked, are you vaccinated? He said, I am immunized. Time goes on. Rodgers comes out. He got COVID. Everyone said, well, I thought you were vaccinated. He goes, I said I was immunized. Never said I was vaccinated. People get on him for lying. He's suspended. He got a fine. I didn't see the exact numbers. I think he was out for like 2 weeks. I saw something like $115,000, something like that. Maybe it was $150,000. Is Aaron Rodgers right? Is he within his rights to do what he did? Or is Aaron Rodgers wrong? Let's get into it. So the NFL makes a mandate you have to be vaccinated to play ball. Kyrie Irving, who is being simultaneously talked about during all this, is in a similar situation. Kyrie says, ain't getting that shit. I'm out. Everyone scrutinized Kyrie. What an idiot. You're a bum. You don't like the sport enough. Blah, 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 blah. So Aaron Rodgers, probably taking all this in, goes, hey, I'm just going to say I'm immunized. I'm immunized. People accepted that when he gave the answer. And then when he wasn't immunized the way they thought he should be, then there was a problem. And here comes my point. There's still such a thing as healthcare privacy, right? HIPAA is still a thing. So this whole making everyone's medical information and choices that they make, that's criminal. Now, Aaron Rodgers has a responsibility. If you don't agree with the rules that are put out and you have such a platform, you should have used that platform to say, I don't agree with this. It's been noted since that he took advice from Rogan to get some monoclonal antibodies, and he got better extremely quick. I don't like how they're not reporting on that, just like how they didn't report on that with Rogan. I think it's horseshit that the narrative through the NFL, ESPN, and really any agenda that just wants to push this vaccination thing, that if you don't get vaccinated, you're somehow evil or something. I don't appreciate that narrative because it's his right to do with what he wants. It's not his right to not follow the rules, right? So if you don't agree with the rules, you have to pay for the consequences of not following the rules, which is don't follow them. Fine, don't follow them. But when you get found out, now, again, I don't think he's wrong for saying I'm immunized, but he should have been honest with a coach, something, and gone, hey, just so you know, I did my own thing. I don't agree with what's going on here. So for my own personal choice and the choice of my family, I'm not doing this, but I'm not willing to give up on my team for this either. Like this is not worth not being here for my team. And that was the NFL that ended up making the choice that he's not allowed to be there for his team because of this. Now, here's my thing. If you're sick, if you have COVID, if you have any illness, you shouldn't play ball. You should not play ball. You're putting people in danger. If you're healthy, play ball, right? Play ball. Why we make people's medical decisions our business just because of everything that's going on? You guys notice that we keep moving closer and closer and closer and closer to this no privacy, no basic human rights shit? And we think just because Stephen A's dumb ass gets on TV and spouts off at his bullshit that I'm supposed to care, or Max fucking Kellerman? You guys can both eat a dick. Yeah? This whole fuck Aaron Rodgers because he's a liar. Hey, NFL, we want to talk about Ray Rice. We want to talk about a lot of the other problems in which you have been caught lying in situations where people's safety was at risk. My boy Tim Tebow had a great clip.
Suspended.
Listen, is what he did misleading? What he said misleading? The way he acted, is it what you would want out of a franchise quarterback and a role model to a lot of young people? Absolutely not. Should he be suspended? Well, I don't think so at all, because if he is, where do you draw the line? So do you draw the line if you're misleading? Well, then guess what? Most coaches are going to get suspended. Do you draw the line in lying? Most people are going to be suspended. You can't do it just based on something that you're passionate about or that's a hot topic or something that's important now. If you suspend someone for lying, you suspend everybody for lying. We can't pick and choose what it is. And so I don't think that you could say, hey, we're suspending Aaron Rodgers because he lied. Do you know how many people, when they step in front of the cameras, lie? Right? So now we're just going to pick and choose which ones we care more about that we can suspend. Obviously, it's not right. Obviously, I'm not trying to condone that. But if you say lying is where you get suspended, then guess what? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get suspended.
If you're going to start enforcing that you get in trouble for lying, whoa, buddy, you about to have no coaches. You about to have no players. You're going to have no refs. You're going to have no owners. Bye, NFL. As if y'all aren't doing a good enough job of that shit anyway on your own with getting involved in all the politics. Nail in the coffin. Here you are. All right. I'm running out of time, I believe. Let me see what I got. Let's cover the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Let's cover the Kyle Rittenhouse case real quick because I don't want to lose any of my batteries and stuff. All right. Kyle Rittenhouse at the time, this case all started because there was a black male was in an engagement with the police. He retreats to his vehicle with a knife. Police shoot him, kill him in this neighborhood. Tensions grow throughout the night, which leads to a protest in the evening, right? I'm not here to comment on the validity of the protest. I'm here to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse's case, right? 17 years old, finds this group on Facebook, the Kenosha Guard, started by a former councilman and disgruntled man of the community. He was known on Facebook to put like some anti-police stuff out there. Then you got Kyle Rittenhouse, who is 17, seemed to be a fan of the police with a TikTok username, More Horrors, More Doors, with a description of just trying to be famous or something like that. So we understand we got an influential kid or an influenced kid that thinks he's going to come out and make a name of himself. Here's where I start to find issue with it. We got an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran in this group. When they meet, I'm not talking about anything that they talked about online because I don't know. But they meet boots on ground at the Kenosha protest. And this veteran agrees to allow this 17-year-old child with a rifle to engage in this activity. Right there, that man, that veteran, should be held responsible. You have a child who's not authorized to have that weapon. There is not a civil war going on, as much as you want to try to make it seem like there is. There wasn't. No one had been shot and killed, right? The first victim that was shot and killed by Kyle Rittenhouse was just released from a hospital for mental health issues, and he was vandalizing a car. He was not hurting a human being. Kyle Rittenhouse, being a young man influenced by adrenaline, what's going on around him and the things that are being said. And let's not forget, too, that the police are not stopping this. They're letting this happen. So even the police are not checking people with guns and making sure, are you allowed to have this? That needs to be looked at. After he shot and killed two people, the first one being the mental health patient, and I forget his name. There was another one after he shot the first person. People started chasing him and tried to assault him, and get the gun from him because they had seen what just happened. They realized there's now a man going around shooting people when otherwise it was a lot of this and that. This is why the veteran, in my opinion, should be held responsible. If you're claiming that you're trained for this situation, you're claiming that you know how to handle this situation, if you were ever in the military and you're about to go out on a mission and you have someone who's not equipped for that mission, you get them the fuck out of there because it's best for the mission and everyone involved. You don't allow someone to come, and it's the reason I've always disagreed with the draft. You don't want people in your fucking ranks that shouldn't be there. That kid should not be there. He doesn't know enough. He's not trained. He's not a military personnel. He's not a law enforcement personnel. He's a fucking kid who has been influenced by God knows what, video games. This is where my whole message of the Shatter the stigmas of veterans and mental health have always come. We as veterans should not make it a cool fucking thing to take up arms against other Americans. That's not a cool thing to fucking do, right? If a day comes where we have to take up arms and bear our arms, which is our right to do so, and this is the reason I care about this, because this is an example. This was not an example of a time to bear arms. To have them, okay. This kid was not even allowed to have it. And I am not going to allow his attorney or anyone else to normalize 17-year-old kids or anyone who is not authorized to have a weapon to show up at public gatherings because they feel that this situation dictates it.
18-year-olds, it's not an affirmative defense. The information that I've provided to the court through the legislative history makes it clear it's an exception. It's not an affirmative defense. It is an affirmative defense for people under the age of 16. I'd agree with that 100%. But if you look at the Senate Bill 7 and the 1991 Act, in 3 different places it tells you in plain language that it does not apply. Not for hunting purposes, it does not apply, period, to 16 and 17-year-olds who possess firearms. That is,
that's not okay. I have often said, I can go on record, you can hear me say it, I don't even think that most people should be able to have access to an AR. I am of the understanding that they're not fully automatic. I don't care. Now, you want to go and you want to prove that you've understood what this is capable of. You understand that you know how to use it, and you've signed saying you take full responsibility for the actions you take with it once investigated. Well, but guess what? You have to even be old enough to be in that arena. This kid wouldn't have even been accepted by a police department or a military recruiter. They would have told him, "Hey, dog, you got to come back." Kyle Rittenhouse is going to go to jail for this for the rest of his life. And I think it's unfortunate because he was a child who was influenced by a lot of shit. But just like with Travis Scott, you have to hold the influences accountable. So the guy, the ex-councilman that started this group that he joined, anybody that hyped this 17-year-old kid up, if you didn't do your due diligence to know who was in your ranks, that's on you. Same thing as Travis Scott. If you're hyping up this thing and you're telling people that it is this and it's not that, and then they act on that, it makes me very sad because now Kyle Rittenhouse is an 18-year-old kid who the rest of his life is over. Whether he goes to prison or not, which I think he should. Remember, guys, doing things like, busting car windows, it's not okay for deadly force. You can't use deadly force on another human being because they're destroying property, especially property that's not yours. This kid was filled with adrenaline. He heard a gunshot because someone just popped it off in the air. which, again, we're showing people aren't knowledgeable with weapons. You never fire a warning shot of any type because you don't know where that is going to go. Everybody who was down in that arena that night or in that city on that block doing any of that, they put themselves in serious, serious danger only because you don't know. Here's the thing. You'll notice that a lot of people that, like this veteran, he probably craves that action so badly because of whatever happened to him during his tours and whatever's going on in his life. He clearly doesn't have something somewhere that he's willing to live for. So he's willing to go die for something he's, and it's, again, it's something that all needs to be brought to awareness. It's not okay to encourage 17-year-old kids to take up arms against fellow Americans. It's fucking not. You have the right to bear arms, and I support that. If there's a danger in your community, you take care of that danger. But as a part of it, you have to have leaders who you trust, who will say that this is actually a threat or this is maybe just a lot of noise right now. We can deal with noise. Noise isn't dangerous. Danger is different. Is there imminent threat? Yes or no? But that comes through training. That comes through years of experience. And this shows, again, what happens if you're lazy with influence and branding and even how you should act if you back the blue. We don't need to put out this idea that this vigilante type action is okay. It's not okay because you don't know what's really going on. You don't have the equipment or intel or sources like law enforcement and stuff like that has to know what's actually going on in a situation. You're one human being reacting to things around you, which, if we know anything by the game of telephone or just being in large crowds at all, it's completely unpredictable and anything can happen at any time. So when you enter into those situations and you bring things like drugs or guns and you start to use them on your fellow American, you're not going to get support from me, especially when they're not doing anything to harm another person. If you start subduing people with injections at concerts because they're going around raping people and killing people, okay, you handled business. I'm not saying inject people, but I'm just saying if you're taking out a guy that's going around insulting people and you're like, and he dropped, okay, you're not going to get a video of me ripping on you. But you bring a gun and you start capping people just because you don't agree with something they're doing, or you bring a syringe to a concert, or you influence kids to act ways that are completely wrong, well, the road to redemption might just cover that. And with that, guys, I love you so much. Please, please, please protect your energy. This stuff is important. I'm not telling anyone to turn a blind eye to it, but please don't allow it to affect you in negative ways. If you notice that you're spending more time watching stuff on this than doing what you love, and you're not eating and you're sleeping less because you're staying up all night to try to follow these updates, guys, take care of yourself. This situation will handle itself. It is, we can spread awareness of the fact that the general public isn't stupid. They're trying to, in the Travis Scott case, they want us to believe that we're fucking stupid, that you could just retract official statements that you put out. And in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, if people don't actually say what they feel, then there's just going to be more propaganda going out. And in this situation, that boy was wrong. He was wrong. Sorry, but that's how I feel. So I love you guys very much. Leave Aaron Rodgers alone, for God's sakes, as long as he's healthy. It's no one's business what you do with your fucking body or what, you put in it. Again, if he's sick, he's out of the game. If he's healthy, he's in the game. If the rule is, that he was supposed to be vaccinated and he wasn't, seems like he's going to pay that fine for that. But he doesn't owe anybody a fucking explanation. And anyone who feels like they're offended that he lied to him, well, you can go fuck yourself, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't owe you shit. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, NBC Sports. Love you guys. See ya.